everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could be with us once again. For those who are tuning in on the Amazon side, that is your first time with us, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button. You'll see it either here in this corner or you'll see it down below. You also will see our book by our returning guest. We're excited to welcome back author Theresa Merritt-Watson. She's the author of this book, Black Tech, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. I see you guys also coming in on the simulcast. We're simulcasting our broadcast today for Facebook, for LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram. I appreciate you all being with us as well. Ellen, hello to you. I see you over there on the IG side. Also, Marcy, I see you as well over there on IG. If you guys have any questions or comments for Ms. Merritt-Watson, make sure you let me know. Now, for those who are new to the series, let me let you guys know what we've been doing. Ms. Merritt-Watson has 14 great Black inventors she's been able to share in her book, Black Tech, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. What we've been doing is we've been doing these special segments where we're breaking down two of the inventors every segment. Today we're doing two, and we're wrapping up this series tomorrow. But we've been talking with her about the inventors, what it's been like for her to share what they've been able to do and their impact for all of us. Ms. Merritt-Watson, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really have enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed this as well, Ms. Merritt-Watson, and I really believe, and I want people to remember I said this, I think this series is going to be a spark because even though we're doing this segment live, people will be able to watch the replay. We also are on YouTube where people will be searching for things, and I really want them to know that this is a book that will continue, not just for young people, but also for all of us and what we've been able to learn. I want to talk about that with you briefly, Ms. Merritt-Watson. What has that been like for you to introduce a lot of these inventors to the world, but also to share their contributions as well?
Well, it's been very interesting, actually, because one of the things when you're writing, you learn about the individual, but you continue to learn about the individuals. So that's been really refreshing for me, is that I continue to learn about Lewis Latimer. He's such a great man. I continue to learn about Alexandra Miles. And so being that I am that these people have had such a profound impact on the development of this country, I am always at awe when I'm reading something new. Like, I didn't know that, Yeah. Why did it didn't show up in that book that I read, And right. So this has been really interesting for me. And what I want to say is that I've also just want to give your audience enough for them to be intrigued, for themselves to go and dig deeper about the great things that we have done, because this is just 14 people, 7 men, 7 women. My next book is going out, 7 men, 7 women as well in science, and you just continue to grow in the area. Every time I do some research, I find someone new. So this is what I'm hoping that happens with the individuals that's listening right now.
Exactly. Hello to you, Leisha. Good to be able to see you over on the IG side, Hardcore Grind magazine. Both is so funny. Ms. Merritt-Watson and I did not know this at the time. But as you guys know, I just came back from Los Angeles with our Amazon program, Conversations LA. I'm heading to Atlanta this week for Conversations ATL. But guess what? So is Ms. Merritt-Watson. She's this way. So is Ms. Merritt-Watson. She's going to be in Atlanta too. So our plans are to be able to meet together and to be able to do something on camera together. So I'm very excited about that. So Ms. Merritt-Watson, we're going to go ahead and jump in. You alluded to one of the individuals we're talking about here today in your book, Black Tech, and that is Lewis Howard Latimer. So I want to talk about him because the story side of the book says, sometimes I'm afraid of the dark, but I can keep a little light on in my room all night, thanks to Lewis Latimer's inventions. I want to be able to share with our audience more about this. So I want to talk about this individual for yourself. What was it like for you to be able to learn what Lewis Latimer was able to do, Ms. Merritt-Watson, and his contribution to the world?
Well, it has two profound impact on me. Lewis Latimer and Thomas Edison. He was apprentice for Thomas Edison. Mm-hmm. And Thomas Edison was having just failure after failure after failure on some of the things that he was doing. He brought in Lewis Latimer, and Lewis Latimer too had failure after failure, because when you're working, trying to pull things together, you want people to know, particular kids, if it doesn't work, you need to get some alternative. So I think his invention is one that when you read it, you learn about you learn about the different struggles and the processes that he had to go through in order to make it work, but it did work. And so for us today, we have the filament, and without Lewis Latimer filament and his successes and his failure, his successes and his failure, it would be a challenge for us to have light at this point in time. So since he worked with Alexander Graham Bell, he's also known for his contribution for what we call, well, it's don't call it a cell phone, but I hope the kids still remember that we used to have this thing called a landline
Hmm.
phone as a form of major communication. And you can contribute some of those attributes to Lewis Latimer as well. So he himself not only was an inventor, but as an apprentice, he also got exposed to a lot of things that we can give him credit for in in its development.
Right.
Um, he's not given the credit for the telephone, but he is given credit for being instrumental in its development of the telephone, and so he has hundreds of patents. And that's something that I think that when our kids start researching these people,
Hmm.
they will see all the great things that these individuals have done. And so what I've done is to give you the basics, something that you can identify with, something
Right.
that your kids can identify with. But particular children, sometimes they don't want to sleep without a light. It is nice to tone the light down by a night light.
Hmm.
And those things, I really enjoy his invention, because like you have a ring light, you have all sorts of light, and they all require some type of filament in it.
Yeah. Such a great point. Brother Archie, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on the IG side. And I see you guys coming in on YouTube as well as on X. For those who are just tuning in, welcome. You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents. We're here on Amazon Live, but we're simulcasting this on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram. We're here with author Theresa Merritt-Watson. She's the author of this book, Black Tech. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're talking about one of the inventors in her book, and that again is Lewis Howard Latimer. We're talking about his invention, which is the light bulb filament. I want to talk a little bit more about this, Ms. Merritt-Watson, because again, we were seeing another pattern here that you and I have talked about in this series, because he was a self-taught engineer, and to do something that remarkable, it really says a whole lot. What was that like for you as you were doing your research about Lewis Howard Latimer and what he was able to do, for one, in the time period that he did it, the early 1900s, but knowing that he was self-taught as well?
Well, one of the attributes about Lewis Latimer is he contributed a lot of his knowledge and his exposure to his father.
Mm-hmm.
He was a draftman. His father, he engaged with his father quite often. And so, in this space, and before his father's passed, he had passed on a lot of knowledge. And so, the relationship that you have with your father, with your parents, is also important. So, I advocate for the involvement of parents. And you could see just through Lewis Latimer position that he have things that he have done, that his impact, his parents' impact, particularly his father, was profound in his life. You know, so I think that we talk about something in the 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, it is still relevant today. The engagement that you have with your children, that was one of the profound things that I saw in Lewis Latimer in the reading with him. He had great honor, if you will, for the contribution, and embrace the fact that his father embraced his passion and his interest. And that's what one of the elements that are missing is embracing our children passion and interest. That is something that we need to develop, to grow, to get to the things that we need. Everybody, everybody's not going to be a Lewis Latimer, but they may be a Charles Drew. Um, so it's whatever the child is interested in, let us try to embrace it. That's one of the things that I took away from Lewis Latimer. If you read his material, he will often go back to his relationship with his father. His father was a draftsman. His father did this and his father did that. And so that's what it gave me. And I was happy with it.
Yeah, love that. Naheed, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on the IG side. Naheed's over there on the West Coast where we just left from, Miss Merritt-Watson. So we appreciate her being on with us. It's early over there. We're going to move on to our next person that we're featuring today, another interesting one, and that is Marie Van Britten Brown. And the story part of the book says, when someone comes to visit, we can see who is outside before letting them in. Marie Van Britten Brown's invention makes this possible. Again, this is another big one. The prototype for the closed circuit television security, known as your home security system. This is a huge thing, Ms. Merritt-Watson. Talk to us about Van Britten Brown's invention and how it struck you.
Well, reading about her was intriguing to me because she actually, we know her. We don't know anything about her husband per se, but they did this project actually as a unit. She grew up in Queens, and at the time it was not a safe place for African Americans. So, there was a lot of non-moving parts for her. She went to Harris College. The security closed circuit TV was something that we use today. This is one of the reasons why I put it in, because we use this TV, this monitoring system.
Okay, we seem to have lost our connection with Miss Merritt-Watson. Hopefully, we can be able to get that back with her. One of the things that sometimes happen with a live broadcast, so we're going to see if we can be able to get her back. There she is. Okay, Miss Merritt-Watson, there you go.
Well, you know,
Hey, it's totally fine. Hey, anything can happen when we're live. But no, you were just talking about we still use her invention today.
yeah. So in this invention today, at one point in time, we didn't have it in school. It's used for a security place. It's also used for spying. It's used for many things. I just got a new security system in my house, and I was just so awed about the clarity of it. It's constantly being improved, but nonetheless, it is something that is invented and utilized throughout the world. And if you don't know that, you can go to the UK and you could, any street you've been on, they can trace you back. They have it almost in every place it is. We have that for monetary reasons for here in America, because they give you speeding tickets when you're going too fast. So, we have it everywhere. And I think what I wanted to take from this is the fact that we take these systems that we have and we haven't given ourselves credit. People don't know about us. As we wrap up, these are some of the things that I think is absolutely important, that we start taking a look at who we are, what we have contributed, and what she have done has impacted the entire world. Just like Lewis Latimer, without these inventions, these last two inventions, I would not be talking to you on this system
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
And so I I have I had great fun actually learning about her and her husband, actually, because if it didn't work, he was her tester. So that
Yeah.
was um that was a fun part about reading. I really enjoy that combination of family.
Love that. Miss Mary, what I have to say, I had never heard of her before. And I've said this honestly to our audience here during this series. I'm grateful to you for writing this book because a lot of them I didn't know. However, I did what I hope a lot of you all would do at home. I then went to our friendly neighborhood Google to look up more information about these individuals. And one thing I wanted to say about Marie Van Britten Brown, if you don't mind, Miss Merritt-Watson, that I thought was interesting, that I think your audience will hopefully be inspired by, because I saw that her profession was actually a nurse. She wasn't someone who, intended to be an inventor, but because of a need in her community, because of security, that kind of thing, they decided to do this thing. And I hope our audience takes that to look around you and see what need you may can feel, and to think, who would have known that her, having this profession, she had a profession as a nurse, her husband, I think, was a technician, right? Ms.
Yes.
Merritt-Watson, I think. And
Yes.
so they had their own careers, but they saw a need for something dealing with their security and safety, and then came up with something that literally we all are using in some form or fashion today. I thought that was really inspiring as a creative individual, Ms. Merritt-Watson, because it really shows that even though you may say, well, I'm not an inventor, I'm not this. Well, she probably said the same thing, but she had an idea and she was willing to make it happen. I'm curious for you, Ms. Merritt-Watson, what has that example been like for you to show that even though that may not have been what you intended to do in your life, that we can still make an impact and serve a need in our community?
Well, especially when the need in the ends up, she was a nurse, and her husband. I didn't get into that part because I'm always intrigued about what people find so profoundly about these people. Like, oh
Yeah.
my goodness, she was a nurse and she became an engineer,
Yeah.
and and so I'm always, when people call me and say, I didn't know she did this and I didn't know she did that. It's really always refreshing to
Yeah.
say, oh, okay, yes, I knew that. But
Yeah.
one of the things I think I want people to take away, particularly the children, as they develop, they will see something and they'll ask questions. Like you get a phone, and you'll say, why didn't they put this here? Why didn't they do this? And why didn't they do that? Why don't we have a chair that adjusts at the table like we have in our office? And someone would come up with such a brilliant idea, and things like that. And so this is the very reason you want the person to have critical thinking skills. What's out there? What needs to be done? And so when you see her, and when you see many of these inventors, one of the core elements that they have is a critical thinking, and they have the ability to have passion. So when I see it, it gives me motivation to move forward, to keep pushing. That's what it does for me.
Right. Spiritual Sunbeam 2020, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on the IG side. 1425 JP, good to be able to see you as well. Our guest for this segment has been author Theresa Merritt-Watson. We've been discussing two more of the individuals from her book, Black Tech, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're wrapping up our series. It's hard to believe that we're on day 6 of the series. Day 7 is coming up tomorrow for those who are joining us live, that being Tuesday, May the 28th. I hope you guys will join us as we're wrapping up this series with the last 2 inventors that Ms. Merritt-Watson shares in her book. And if you guys do not have your copy of Black Tech, if you're joining us on the Amazon side, we have both the paperback and the Kindle edition available here for you guys to be able to get. The paperback, you can get it like I did for $13.76. And then the Kindle edition is actually on sale right now for $8.49. So you all can get either the paperback or the Kindle edition of the book. For those who are not joining us on Amazon, if you're joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, or on Instagram, there's a link that will bring you guys over to Amazon. Robert is joining us. Robert is joining us on Facebook. Robert says, passion and critical thinking is crucial. So true. You would love Robert, by the way, Ms. Merritt-Watson. He is a screenwriter and an author. He was the one who wrote the screenplay about Robert Smalls, Captain Robert Smalls. He introduced me to Robert Smalls, and now an organization he's working with has turned it into a graphic novel as well. Verna Hamilton, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over on Facebook as well. Again, if you guys have not gotten your copy of Black Tech, make sure you guys grab it here on Amazon for yourself, either the paperback or the Kindle edition. And Ms. Merritt-Watson, I will see you tomorrow as we wrap up our series.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. And if people have any questions for me, I'm good.
All right. And we do have Ms. Merritt-Watson tagged for you guys joining us on Facebook. We have her tagged on her personal page and her author page. So make sure you guys do like her author page as well. We have that tagged for you as well. And we did the same thing on Instagram as well. So you guys can stay connected with her on IG there too. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying thank you so much for joining us for Cyrus Webb Presents. You all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.